On this episode of Old School Monster Life, we're ditching the factory dual master cylinder and replacing it with dual master cylinders, plural, 2 of them. I just wanted to give a little update. We're trying to get the truck ready for this year, and we had like 4 or 5 things that the truck didn't have as far as safety things for the MTRA. So I'm going ahead and getting all that stuff done. I already got the RII put in, and now we have to run dual master cylinders. Not a dual master cylinder like the factory has, but 2 master cylinders. And that's 1 for the front, 1 for the back, so no matter what happens, I always have brakes, at one end or the other. I got this little handy dandy kit here with this brake pedal, and it's supposed to push this way and push on 2 of these master cylinders. But Earthquake has swing pedals because it's a factory truck. That's the way it came. It had a pedal that swung down from underneath the dash. So I made this handy dandy little adapter plate so I could mount the 2 master cylinders to the firewall and then still use the same brake pedal. So this piece of Swiss cheese with the studs will mount to the outside of the firewall, and then I can mount the master cylinders to that, and then the shafts will go through and I can attach them to the brake pedal that's already in the truck. Voila, done. Hook up my brake lines and I'm out of there. But I'll show you what this is going to look like when it's all screwed together and on the firewall. Okay, so it's the next morning on the brake master cylinder changeover. I took my adapter plate and painted it last night. Of course, it looks like crap because humidity was like 90% and it was 30 degrees. So the paint looks like garbage, but there's enough paint on there that it won't rust and nobody will ever see it, so I don't care. Anyway, here's how it looks this morning. So I got the master cylinders mounted on there, and this will stick through the firewall, so the factory brake pedal arm will be right about here in between the 2. And then the front, this gets screwed to the sheet metal, but that's not what holds it together. The 4, you can see them in there, mounting holes for the brake booster is what's really going to hold that plate to the firewall. And it will also hold the brake pedal assembly back together underneath the dash. So we're going to put this in there and start hooking stuff up. Alright, we have the master cylinders with the adapter plates, or adapter plate, on the firewall. Everything's bolted up. The push rods are extending through the firewall and are resting on either side of the brake pedal. Lines are hooked up and sealed. I just have to go in and put the rod through the brake pedal assembly, and then I have a working apparatus that all I have to do is put fluid in and bleed. So I'll do that. And then one more upgrade for safety's sake is done. Well, that worked out nicely. All I had to do was put the adjuster bolt that came with my dual master cylinder pedal assembly through the factory pedal assembly, and then thread the push rods for the master cylinders through that and bled the brakes out, and I have brakes, dual master cylinder brakes. Check it out. All in there, plumbed. It's a little foggy because some knucklehead spilled brake fluid all over the header. But it works. It works, and I'm happy, and that is one more thing off the checklist. I got the bypass valve for the steering that I still have to get and put on, and a fire extinguisher. I think that's it, and this truck will pass tech. How cool is that? This is everything I took out for the old brakes. That hose over there is the vacuum line for the brake booster. And this giant brake, well, it's not even a giant brake booster, I think it's a 10-inch. But this bolted to the firewall with those 4 bolts. And then that's the old master cylinder. None of this is bad. In fact, the master cylinder is only a couple years old. I had just replaced that a couple of years ago. But if anybody out there with a highboy needs a power brake setup, I got one. Hey, real quick, we got another item checked off the list. So I'm down to just needing the bypass valve for the steering. We have a fire extinguisher for the truck. Rulebook says we need a 5-pound fire extinguisher. So I got one. Now the trick to the fire extinguisher, you can't just go to Walmart or Dollar General and buy a fire extinguisher. And the reason is they have to be certified. So a certification tag has to be on the fire extinguisher. And this one is from Cintas. Now the tag is good for a year. And then next year I'll bring this back to Cintas and they'll recertify it and give me a new tag. This isn't an MTRA thing, this isn't an IHRA or an NHRA thing. Sanctioning bodies, while they say you have to have a fire extinguisher, the reason that it has to be certified is because the fire marshal at the event that you go to can tell you you're not running without a certified fire extinguisher. You can have one in the truck or in the vehicle, and it can show green on the gauge and everything's fine and you never used it. But if it doesn't have a certification tag, the local fire marshal can shut you down for the whole event. So go to Cintas, you can go to a fire protection service outfit in any town, and you can get a certified fire extinguisher to mount in your vehicle. So we have that for this year, and next year we'll have to renew it, but we're good for a year. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you like what we're doing here on Old School Monster Life, trying to keep the old school monster trucks alive. Share it with your friends, comment down below any suggestions that you might have, what you want to see. I still hesitate doing any kind of action video of me working because I'm here to tell you it's not a pretty sight and I'm a little embarrassed, but that's just how I work it. I try to be a different person at the shows, so yeah, I'll leave my private shop life. But anybody that's been around me knows what happens when I get frustrated. Other than that, if you want to see anything, let me know.